Welcome everybody to our weekly BrightID AMA. Our topic today is just whatever we want to talk about. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, post them, type them, whatever you want to do. And we can also just talk about whatever subjects are on our mind relating to.
I've got a new thing to bring up.
Sure, please do.
Today they're launching public goods nouns. So this is a nouns fork. It appears to be highly related to a whole bunch of projects that are in our world: ClearFund, Gitcoin, POAP, bunch of other similar, Metacartel. So here it is. There's hour and 45 minutes left in their first, so it's publicnouns.wtf. But it seems to me, right, that very, very similar to nouns. They're going to do 2 auctions every day, these generated little things. People can buy them, put them in the funds instead of, being used for the good of the noun holders. It'll be used to fund public goods.
Oh, cool.
Interesting to see what happens there. Perhaps also a place that BrightID could seek funding. They have 0 ETH in the treasury right now, but they're going to have at least 2.47 ETH in the treasury 2 hours from now.
Okay, yeah, great. You got to start somewhere. That's awesome. I love it. I love to see projects opening up public goods arms, bringing funding back to public goods through their excess profits. I think that's awesome.
And the traits of these little nouns are related to the projects that we listed out. So like the one going up first, the Gitcoin bot. And there's going to be a bunch of, like, I see one that's like the little like seedling of token engineering commons. So
cool.
That's pretty cool. I also had a conversation with someone about a similar thing, and maybe it's exactly the same thing, a few weeks ago in relation to BrightID, because they were wondering about enabling quadratic voting for something like this. So, not just one vote per NFT, but something less bureaucratic than that. So we'll see if anything comes of that. I didn't see any mention of any such thing on the website now. But this is the kind of group of people that I think would think about such things. So we will see.
Cool. Kind of unrelated, but I'm just trying to remember this right now. What is that? There's an NFT documentary that Jonathan Mann was talking about. That's like, I think they're raising funding right now through the sale of NFTs. I'm just trying to remember that kind of for myself. But do you know what that is?
No, I didn't notice that part of the conversation.
Okay. Cool. Anything else related to public goods funding? I know we've had some chats, maybe not in here, but in other places, about what CLR Fund is doing at DevCon, which I think is really cool. They're having a CLR Fund round that is open to DevCon participants. Do we know what kind of projects can go in this round? Can BrightID go in it?
I looked on the website. The website has very little in terms of criteria for.
Okay, so we should probably submit BrightID in there, I would think.
So all it says here is it's got to be free and open source. It says no clones. If you fork code, you must provide unique additional value. You have to prove that you own the project, and there can't be any scams. But that's
so
all
it sounds
it says.
like we should get BrightID in there then.
It's only for Latin America projects.
It does not say that anywhere there.
Well, that's what I understood. It's only for
Oh,
Latin American
how do you
projects.
like,
I
does that mean like
mean-
greater than 50% Latin America? Because the thing is, if you've got a decentralized project, and let's say, you know, some of the
Yeah, I
people
mean that
Latin
maybe
America.
that affect Latin America, that the project
that
affect
helps
Latin America.
Latin America.
Okay, so we have,
specifically. Okay,
we
yeah,
definitely
we're
have over
worldwide.
10,000, probably over
You-
20,000
Yeah, certainly.
users. You know, we
Yeah,
have
so
14
it depends on how specific it has to be. If it has to be something that's only focused on helping Latin America, then BrightID doesn't fit that. But yeah, so but I'd be interested to know. So someone
I mean,
find out whether we can join that round.
nothing will be fit that criteria because the Latin American projects are not for Latin America, it's for everyone. So, I mean, it should be specifically for something in Latin America, so no one is going to do something just, I mean, it could be like, not an application or something like in blockchain, more like, I mean, an ONG or something like that, that is doing something specifically in a place in Latin America. But for a project that, I mean, software, something like that, it could be possible.
Okay. And let's see, it's like ETH Colombia .clr, ethcolombia.clr.fund. And then, yeah, you can add your project from there.
Yeah, it seems to me
Use
that
telemetry.
both Gitcoin and Unitap should be on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they would like, they're planning to use Unitap to help get people onto Arbitrum that are not already there. So clearly it is literally going to benefit people in Latin America doing a Latin American thing.
Yeah. Exactly my point.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point about Unitap. I should. Yeah. Okay.
Do we know anything about their matching pool?
Like what do you mean?
The
What kind of
amount,
things do you want to know about it?
Yeah,
I remember that they post that they have $250,000 from Ethereum Foundation, I think.
for this round.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're wondering about the size and who's already like what big contributors are already in there.
Right. So past CLR rounds have been, you know, 5, 10K in the matching pool. And then they did the ETH staker round, and it was huge. It was 200 or 250, but it was very limited in what it really had to do with Ethereum staking. This one does not appear to have, I mean, on the internet, there's like the round criteria is wide open. Does anything about Latin America? We should find out the specifics, but certainly seems more permissive. This is a very different thing if there's 10K in the matching pool, if there's $250,000 in the matching pool. Those are wildly different opportunities for any project that's participating.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe their focus is like the return of the DevCon, right? Because it's like, it's Ethereum Colombia, I mean, it's CLR from Ethereum Colombia, because the DevCon is going to be there, not because anything else. If the DevCon is going to be in another place, so we're going to focus in that place, I think. So maybe it's because there's the last few years we got COVID and that kind of thing, that the meetings get canceled and that kind of stuff. So they want to make like this kind of focus. So maybe the people get hype for the future DevCons or that kind of stuff. I mean, and Colombia is not like the most popular places to go in the world. So it has that too. It's good that they want to give to the public goods, I think. check. Let me check if I will tell you what's. No. Talking about that, we are going to be there making
Awesome.
connections with the people that wants to get the verification and maybe get our connections. And we are going to help the people. And the people for CLR ask us directly to do, I mean, to speak of something like that. I don't know exactly what they mean. We want to talk to the people because it's a specific meeting and they want to be in a time specific meeting.
Mhm.
So I don't know if, I mean, my
Oh, you mean they
mentality-
want the connection making to like converge in one place at one time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we tell them that we are going to be there in any moment that anyone just talk to us, we can make the connection. It's not
Yeah,
a
that
problem.
works for the, if you set up like a one to end, so it could be like the first in real life like meets party where it's like everybody come and come over to me one by one and scan my phone.
And we got tons of these stickers, so we are going to
Nice.
put these stickers on the identification,
so
so
that
the
people
people
can
that you
figure out
can
who else to
see
connect
with
to.
this sticker, you know that it get the verification. And the thing is that they ask us about a specific time to do a meeting. So in my mind, it's just a connection meeting. I mean, a verification meeting. I don't think it's
Sure.
that. But if we got the opportunity to talk about BrightID, it's a limited time. So you guys as founders, what do you like to be spread about BrightID specifically? What point exactly, or whether of the project to be told to the
Just
people?
all the cool things that you can get with BrightID and all the cool things that you can't get without it, I guess, because it's like you know, all the things that that if more projects use BrightID, like how projects could use BrightID to do things that they currently can't do. So that's always a fun topic. So it's like, you know, if an NFT wants to have some giveaways that's more democratic or something like that, that's a, you know, or a DAO wants to recruit members in a way that's not plutocratic, then these are kind of interesting topics, like, because you see both of those nowadays. You see like creators and artists saying, I want to, you know, I want some of these NFTs to go out to the masses. How do I do that? Or you see like DAOs saying, we want broader participation from the masses. Like a lot of them will split into branches, like governing branches, where it's like, okay, we want the House of Commons, or like we want the people, we want like a democratic branch of our DAO or something like that, even if they don't want the entire DAO to be fully democratic. So yeah.
You mean about the possibilities?
Yeah, the possibilities, like the cool stuff that is being done and the cool stuff that can be done with BrightID.
Yeah, I guess I would talk about the network possibilities of something like BrightID. That right, it's if BrightID works for some group of projects, then it'll work for a whole bunch more projects. The hard part is only the beginning. So we've got this sort of cold start problem, but you know, now there's 60,000 people verified. That grows each day. It's easier for the next project to come in than the last project because more people have this thing, and the fact that each of them can use it without the user being linked across those applications. That's just a thing that people never seem to think is the case, but is the case. Also, I'll give a recent example that I saw that would be great for BrightID. I don't actually think that they're ready or willing to do it yet, but in the Squiggle DAO Discord, they're starting to now run a weekly meme contest, which I think is great. So they say, hey, post your memes. People will vote on it in this channel. Whoever gets the most thumbs up will go to the finals. And then a selected group of, and then NFT holders only will vote in that. But what they're already seeing a couple weeks into this is people trying to game the system by, there's a couple things going, and then suddenly there's 5 or 6 of them, and they all get tons of votes all at once. And it's okay, this is such clear, obvious civil collusion kind of behavior. Something like that would be better done in a BrightID protected channel. As we've seen, when you want your community to vote on something, great. But if you don't have something like BrightID protection, it's gonna be they're sort of doing the House and Senate model there, which actually does appear to be working. So that open channel dictates 5 that will make it into the finals, but then there's a small central group that can add up to 5 additional memes that weren't top vote getters that they think should be in the mix for the final vote. So the civils haven't actually won yet, but they're trying. I looked in there recently, and there was a bunch of nice, good memes that I upvoted, that had 10 or 12 votes, and then suddenly 5 lousy memes came in, and they all got 20. There's no way that 20 individual people looked at all the memes and were like, yep, those are the best. Those 5 that popped in are definitely the best and should be thumbed up immediately, as soon as they go up. That's just such obvious bad behavior.
Yeah, so we can say that in that kind of regard, BrightID has that 2 point of view to see the future and the thing that is happening. One is from the users, and another one is from the developers, right? I mean, the application itself. So because for the user, BrightID is just an obstacle, right? That you get when you are just thinking about using an application. And then when you enter and you see, hey, you need to do something, not only BrightID, anything, like a CAPTCHA, you need to prove this, you need to prove that. So maybe for the user it's an obstacle, but what the difference is that when you get the BrightID verification, it becomes like a door, the open door, right? You get to these all applications already. You don't have to do anything else. So I think it's a good point of view to see that. And for what you said about the things that you can do for your project. I mean, to better your project, right? To do something better for what you already has. Not to be thinking about, I'm going to build for thinking about this tool, like BrightID or any tool. But I got this project and I want to better my project. I want to do something better for it. And BrightID give me these possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So
other things they want to bring up?
yeah, anything else? Or so yeah, obviously DevCon is exciting. So I think the official DevCon is, what is it, October 10th or 14th or something? Is that right?
I
But there's a
think
whole
it's
week around it.
12. No, it's just 3 days, the official one. But we got a lot of other things to do before that day. The ETH.
Are you going to
ETH
any other?
Latam.
Are you going to any other ones?
We are going to be in
Yeah.
ETH Latam, yeah, right?
We have a well, we're going to talk about BrightID in ETH Latam.
Cool.
And digital identity. I don't know, we just joined, I think it was CK Sync event. There's going to be a lot of stuff. I don't even know how people just go around all that stuff. And Shelling Point is the 10th as well. So that's Gitcoin event. So yeah, well, hopefully we're going to go as many as we can.
Yeah, I bet myself I will try to be in all of the things I can see. I mean, it's my first time in a convention like this one, so I want to take all the things that I can digest. I mean, everything I want to that I have to learn, I will try to learn like in there. And yeah, I think Carlos was invited to do more speaks about, but I mean for other things, right, Carlos?
Yeah, in Medellin, but I don't like
In-
after the DevCon, there's another 5-day event in Medellin. I
Wow,
don't, yeah,
man, tell them
that's a
to
lot.
buy you a plane ticket and a hotel
yeah.
and that you'll speak, because that sounds like an awesome opportunity to go to Beijing, talk about BrightID. So what conference is happening in Beijing right after DevCon?
No, no Beijing, Medellin.
Oh, Medellin.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so close by.
Close by another.
Okay, not halfway across
All
the
the
world,
planet.
just like a different.
But
You
yeah,
because you guys are in Medellin, right? Or close by. You're kind of like in some rural towns close to Medellin, right?
yeah, more or less, yeah, like 6 hours, something like
Oh,
that.
6 hours. Okay.
So I mean, we need to pass the La Cordillera. We need to pass the big mountains that we got
But
here.
that's by
Wow.
car. Like you can go in a
Oh,
plane in 30 minutes. So
Yeah, plane is really, really close.
okay. Wow.
Well, usually we tend to put the measures of the cities by car. So, but yeah, it's really close. Everything is close in plane.
Mm,
You can just pass by any city in less than 1 hour here in this country, so it's not a problem. But yeah, no, Medellin is the second biggest city from Colombia, and maybe is the most popular and the most economically speaking, the more advanced of all the country. So it's a really important city. There is talking about independence. They want their own country. They don't want to belong to this country.
I don't
The way the
blame
people say.
you.
Yeah, what the people say. So it's important. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And I am the one of the people that think that we are early adopters still for all these technologies. There is a lot of things to speak of or talk about. So every opportunity that you get to talk to the people, and that I think is a good thing in general.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I hope I don't know. I mean, maybe that's too close to coming back from DevCon to go on
Yeah.
another back-to-back trip. But I hope you get more opportunities to speak.
yeah,
Yeah, and I do, and I think another thing you could bring up at DevCon is, I mean, because DevCon is full of geeks that might actually like want to dive deeper with BrightID. So it's not just users. It's not like just crypto users. It's like crypto builders. So I think it would probably be appropriate to talk about Aura and
Oh,
show Aura to some people. So if you want to, include Aura in your presentation.
please. Yeah.
that is pretty good. I think we should just. I don't know if you guys want to do a meeting to catch up with how Aura is going. Like, I don't know if we
Sure,
can
I'm
do the
happy
next
to
event
like
in the
show it
in the
to you,
bright. Okay.
show you
Cool.
how to use it, like give you a hands-on demo of how to use Aura.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even better when it gets turned on.
yeah. Well,
Yep,
yes,
see ya.
yep. Okay, so yeah, yeah. Pick a time with me, and I'm happy to show you Aura. There's I'll post the Aura Discord in I guess in here, and you can join it. But yeah. and then just pick a time with me and we'll do that. Okay, so I just pasted in the chat for anyone who's on the Zoom call who wants to join that's not already in there. You can join the Aura Discord. I think that should work.
Oh,
Let me know if that doesn't work.
because I have my limit of 100 servers.
I hate that.
Let me.
I haven't reached that yet. I hope I never do. Yeah, this one might work better. I don't know. But yeah, come into Aura and yeah.
I'm in.
Great. Yeah, I'm sending you a private message.
Aura
Oh, cool.
is really, really cool because what Philip just said is really true, that the people gamify everything, right? Everyone just try to win the game of everything that they see. If there is
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, if there is a system, the people will try to win the system every time.
Well, what we're looking for is really good Sybil hunters. So yeah, that's exactly what we want. We figure if there's a powerful incentive system, people will learn to be good Sybil hunters, and the people that are best at it will have an incentive to spend more time at it. So that's a big part of what Aura is. That's not the complete picture. The other thing is just like spreading it out, spreading out the verification power to a lot more areas and making that authorization decentralized.
Also,
What are you gonna do? Oh.
it's important. So it's part of the Aura game is going to be the best Sybil hunters. There's going to be a different set of players that are more focused on pushing it out, like on getting as many people as possible in the system, so that then they could be evaluated by a different set of people. Right, the very best Sybil hunters are going to like do it from their command center, not from the streets of Nigeria. But we need the people in the streets of Nigeria to be making connections. So I don't know exactly how it's going to look between sort of the people at the front lines and then the people like back analyzing it. But if everyone's just at their command center, then the graph won't grow. So there needs to be both like the growing edge and the, hey, let's make sure that where it is growing is legit. And I don't know exactly how those things are going to look, but I'm pretty sure that both pieces are needed.
We will know in the future when they start running. We will know, and at least it's going to be really fun. And that is, I mean, that is one thing that it should be fun to start analyzing and making strategies and that kind of stuff. It's going to be really fun, I think. Okay. Oh. So Aura has his own graph, right?
Yep.
But that graph has to do
let me show
with
you.
the social graph.
Yeah, the unique identifier is the same between Aura and BrightID. So your BrightID is like also your Aura ID.
Let's see. What am I actually sharing with you guys?
A new tab.
A web, like a bunch of, like a new web page with a bunch of little things that you might go to.
Let's see. Okay,
now
so
you're
I'm
taking
gonna go
a search
to
bar.
explore. That brightid.org, and we can look at the Aura. Actually, I think nowadays you can just link to it straight from Aura. So I just have to make sure that I'm not accidentally showing something that I shouldn't. I don't think
Yeah,
I'm
we're looking at your Aura right now.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I don't think there's anything in Aura or in the Explorer that's gonna like out anybody if I show it. So let me just try this. So if I go to view on Explorer from here, it'll take me to the right URL in the Aura graph. I think it's just going to show my connections, which I don't think is, I think you'll just see some pictures. I won't like go too deep into exploring it because I don't want to like out anyone. But like without clicking on anyone, you can see kind of, except myself. I don't care if I click on myself. You guys can know my BrightID. I don't care. But
more or less, this is what the people will do.
Yeah, so you can see kind of like Aura influence in the Aura game and how in Aura energy teams, the energy starts in one place with the initial team members and then it flows out. And yeah, it's kind of like a two-way trust system because you're not allowed to hoard Aura energy. You can only send it out. So I have a bucket of energy. So even though Philip and I right now are the two members of this energy team and we send it out, we have to send it back. So we have this relationship where we send to each other and that works fine, but you need to have someone send back. Otherwise you don't get energy, and it spreads out at most 4 hops. So your energy team can reach up to 4 hops away, spreading out energy. But we give energy, you can see who's been doing the most work. Like you can see like these little islands of people doing a lot of work. And so the point is to get energy to those people so that they can do a good job with verifying people. But that's kind of what the Aura graph looks like. So you end up with a lot of these nodes that are not receiving energy. I think energy transfer is blue. So you end up with a lot of people that aren't even receiving energy, but that are verifying people. Or sorry, but are being verified. Like you don't have to have energy to be verified, but you do have to have energy to verify people.
And Adam, I'm pretty sure right now you're just on your energy view, not everybody's energy view.
Yep. And I see that I'm not giving Superfizz energy, which is like a terrible oversight. I should definitely be giving him more energy.
Yeah,
I know Philip's giving him energy. But...
Yeah, I'm giving him. So if you hover over him, you'll see what his energy level is, and I expect it's going to be pretty high.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to out him. But yeah, I know what you mean. You can see what his energy level. But yep. So that's kind of what the Aura graph looks like. So it's definitely different from the BrightID, very different from the BrightID graph. One of the benefits of it is that it can be traversed much more simply than the larger BrightID graph, because the larger BrightID graph to work, at least with most of the, I think B2 is different, doesn't need it, but like with Sybil rank and Sybil group rank that we were using before, we didn't figure out a way to like take a subset of the graph and rank it. You have to process the entire graph, and that can be really intensive. From the we were imagining in the futures, if it was ever going to become global scale, a BrightID node was going to actually have to be like a cluster of computers chugging away on the graph to find the answer, like constantly working at it just to like be able to update it daily or something like that. So anyways, instead of doing that, what you can do with Aura is your energy team reaches 4 hops, and it's who they decide to send the energy to. It's a much smaller. So if you consider that each hop is probably going to be like 1% of the size, you end up with a much smaller graph than what you end up with. Also, you end up with a more meaningful edge between nodes. So in the BrightID graph, it's like there's connections that are happening. People are connecting to other people, but when you're talking about and analyzing the graph for the purposes of verification, what does that actually mean? Because you have this page rank type calculation that's moving through the graph, but what does it actually mean if I know you, like if I know Victor and Victor knows Sandra and I don't know Sandra, what is my relationship to Sandra? It's unclear. It doesn't mean that I know her a little bit. If I know Victor a lot and he knows Sandra a lot, that doesn't mean that I know her a little bit. So it's not really this transitive relationship. So it's hard to express what that actually means. But in the aura game, it's very clear what that means. It means that you're entrusting, when you send energy to someone in the aura graph, it means that you're entrusting that person with power to verify other people and with energy that comes from you that you're ultimately responsible for. So that makes sense in a transitive way. It's like, okay, I'm trusting you to do the right thing with the people that are downstream from you. And if I find out that that's not happening, then I need to cut you off. And so it's much easier to reason about what's actually going on. Then you have the algorithm run on that energy graph, and then that empowers the people in the aura graph to verify people. And that's kind of like the final hop that's not included in the computation, but is then used to create verifications. It's like based on your energy, you have the ability to help verify people, and that can overlap. So you can, if you're in a really good spot, you can be connected to like 5 aura players, and that would be great. Some people are only going to be connected to 1 aura player, but I think as things get more interconnected, it'll be more likely that your average BrightID user can be connected to multiple aura players, and then basically have a backup, so that if Victor loses his status and loses his energy, and he was one of the ones that verified you, that's okay, because you're still getting verified from Carlos, and he still has his energy. So it's like nice to have backups. So that's kind of the structure. That's how the structure of the aura graph differs from the structure of just the regular old BrightID graph. And it just seems much more scalable way to do it. We didn't know how we were going to scale BrightID to global scale. We really didn't know.
But you mentioned a lot of things that are really, really interesting. One of them is that there is 2 different graphs, right? But obviously it's the same, right? The application, this is the same people, it's the same account, right? So what or who are the people that we see in the outer graph? Why are there, or how the people go in that graph?
Right. So what you can see from the aura graph, so that graph view that we were looking at goes beyond to the last hop that I talked about. So you actually get to see people that are being verified if you know who they are. Most of them for me just showed up as gray dots because I don't know who these people are that are getting verified. So that's where you have to be a little careful if it's your energy that's ultimately verifying those people. You're putting a lot of trust in the person that's verifying those people. So you need some method of accountability, and Aura doesn't specify what that method of accountability is, but it tries to provide tools to allow you to hold other Aura players accountable. So we just want a really good tool set.
Another thing that you mentioned is that lose. So we can lose the game, right? I mean,
yeah,
if you are a civil, you are being to be hunted. But if you are not civil and you are an Aura player, you can lose the game.
I would say the most spectacular way you can lose the game is if everyone just thinks that you're doing civil attacks. And so it's like you tried to get energy from people, you abused your energy, you used it to create and get civils verified, and now you have this reputation that no one's ever going to give you energy again. That's how you lose on a that's how you massively lose the game. But there's also like things where it's like, okay, you're making mistakes, but they're honest mistakes, but you're just not a very good Aura player. So we're just not going to give you very much energy. We'll give you a little bit of energy because you want to keep playing the game, but you haven't earned much energy yet. You're just not doing a good job. You're making mistakes. So there's that. It's like if you make a spectacular mistake, where you're just like maybe you become the unwitting accomplice of a Sybil attacker or something like that, and help them verify a bunch of people, and you just proven that you're just like you're just someone who's going to get scammed if you try to play the Aura game. Then it's like, okay, we can't give you energy anymore.
Right.
That's how you lose.
One of the cleanest failures would be you honestly rate your friend and you send them energy, and then they are a clear Sybil, like they go and do obvious bad things. The
Yeah.
whole reason they had energy is because you gave it to them. You thought they were being good, and you just got duped. Like that's like a really clean way. So you didn't do it you didn't do any bad thing, but you let bad things happen under your authority.
Right.
So it's your fault. Like anything that happens downstream of you is your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like in a job, right? If you manage other people and they screw up, that's on you.
Yep.
Like it's ultimately your responsibility.
Yep. And one of the nice things about Aura compared to just BrightID alone is that this sort of like, what is the social repercussion of a Sybil attack? My feeling was, and this was something that always kept me up at night, it was kind of a nightmare scenario, was that with the old BrightID without Aura, if you determine that your neighbor, so you've made some already known connections with your neighbor, and you realize that your neighbor has been like inventing fake children to get UBI or something like that, then you might be the sort of person who's just like, okay, I'm going to make sure that you and your fake children never ever get UBI again. You never get to use BrightID again. I'm completely cutting you off. You're done with BrightID. And you have some like just regular BrightID users have that sort of power because you know, you're verifying the people that you know. And that is not really appropriate. That's too draconian. So we need to
got
back
the same we got that problem in the meetings with the attackers that are currently coming to a lot of meetings, because it is, I mean, it gets to a point that they should have one account, one real account.
Yeah,
but they try to connect with different accounts constantly, different Discord users, and the only thing we can do to stop this kind of behavior is just ban them.
Yep.
So every time that I see them in a meeting, I just wait for the connection and just report their account. Or when they get to the Discord and ask, hey, I was in a meeting, but I don't get the verification. So please give me tell me what was your username in the meeting? And I see, oh, the attacker. So I ban him directly for the Discord channel.
Yep.
That's the behavior. So in the end.
So it's like all or nothing. It's like you can't, this person can never use BrightID again because of what you did.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, let's say that they repent. They say, no, I don't want to be out, please. I'm not going to do this. And it's true. But how do I ensure?
Yeah, at this point, you can't. Like in our current system of meets verification, you can't let them back in. There's no path to come back in. Once you get banned, you're out. But the nice thing about the Aura game is it makes that distinction between, are you helping people get verified or are you yourself being verified? And so you can abuse the Aura game and get kicked out of the Aura game such that you can never get back in, and you can still be BrightID verified, and your friends can still be BrightID verified, just not through you, and your family can still be BrightID verified. And so this is a much better situation. Also, it's decentralized. So if we find out that the white energy team is abusing their power, maybe they're like, hey, pay us $100 or we're gonna like cut off your energy or something like that. And so that entire energy team can be labeled as by apps that they just don't want to use it, and they can use the blue energy team and the red energy team instead, but the ones that don't abuse their power and aren't corrupt. So
Adam,
yeah.
Question for you, something you said.
Yep.
So scammer keeps coming. They should not have any aura power because we know they would just abuse it. They should have a valid BrightID
You
account.
get one, yeah.
Yeah. So under the current setup, how would we give that to them? I don't know how we would.
You mean under meets or under aura?
Under aura.
Okay, so under aura, so the way that I would do it is, so let's say, okay, so let's say that I had a friend. So let's go back to the neighbor example. I've got my neighbor. My neighbor says, hey, I want to get into this aura game, and I'm going to start with verifying my family, and then I've got some other people. And so I trust them. Maybe I give them a little bit of energy to get started with, and they just completely and kind of like very obviously break the rules, very intentionally break the rules. Like they're verifying people that don't exist. It's obvious to me that they're dishonest. So now what I can do is I can remove if they've created any Sybil accounts that I've connected to, which probably wouldn't be the case, but if I had connected to some of their Sybil accounts, those I could mark as Sybil.
Right.
The neighbor themselves, I can still give that neighbor that neighbor's one real account an honesty rating of whatever I think is appropriate, but I cut off their energy completely.
Okay, so that's gonna be but two problems. Number one, if I see you're giving them honesty, that's going to make me more likely to give them honesty and energy, simply the fact that you would give it to them.
Right.
So like
Okay.
that, you're providing a signal, like an honest from Adam means something. So I'm going to misinterpret the signal. The other issue is,
well, that's the issue there is we need to draw a very clear distinction between energy and honesty. And honesty isn't even the it's like, yeah, so honesty means that I think that this person is not getting verified as a Sybil, and I may have to like downgrade the honesty from that person if I think that they're gonna keep trying this, like to now they can't play aura anymore, but they're gonna keep trying to like trick people into verifying their Sybils or something. I may have to downgrade their honesty.
What do you do about someone who just keeps creating new BrightIDs and tries to get them verified?
Yeah, you have to downgrade their honesty. Basically, they have to stop, but it gives them a pathway to be able to stop. Like if that person credibly stops doing that, like if that person is continuously doing that, then they can't get BrightID verified. But if they credibly stop and they're like, okay, this was a dumb idea, I'm gonna stop doing this, and I'm not, I just need me to get verified, the real me. I'm just need one account. Then you can give that person honesty again if you believe that that's what they're doing. But if you believe that they're in the middle of a Sybil attack and they haven't stopped, so if my neighbor, if I think they're still trying to do it like in this moment, then I can't really give them honesty points. But if I think that,
but the thing is that you don't know, because it's a civil, so you don't know it's him.
well, that's the point. Like if you're not sure, like if I'm sure that this is his one and only account, then I can give that a good honesty rating.
Yeah,
If
but
not
how
sure,
do
then
you connect
won't.
their accounts? Because
Through
you
BrightID.
can make
Through
BrightID. Yeah, it's just
So
one BrightID. The thing is that you can do a lot of BrightID accounts, different
right.
accounts.
So the tool that I'm gonna use, which should be launched really soon for Aura, is the mutual connection tool, which tells you which of these like what mutual connections do you have with this person that you're researching, and that can help me to know, like if this person says, oh, I'm not doing Sybil attacks anymore, that can help me to know, because if we have a lot of mutual friends and all those friends are connecting to the same person. We're all connecting to the same person. They all have the same like already known connections that I would expect them to have. That's a really good indicator. If they're missing some and they come up with like some weird story, I'm like why isn't your coworker in your that I also know that I'm also connected to, why aren't they in your list? Or
So
like,
let's recount the steps. You make an account, you join the aura, right? And
yeah,
then you start giving energy with the connections that you get already.
Hold on,
In
wait.
that- No.
Step back. First step, create a BrightID.
Okay, right.
Right? You can't play Aura without already having BrightID. At some point, you may be able to, like, we may simplify the onboarding of Aura such that like Aura is actually creating a BrightID if you don't already have one or not. So for now, get BrightID, and you make normal BrightID connections, just met, already known, or all of that you do in BrightID. Then you come to Aura.
Okay.
And then there's two steps. So first step, which is what Adam's showing on the screen right here, is you're rating them on an honesty, on a civil to honest scale. And that determines if you have energy, which we'll get to later, and you rate someone as honest, they will probably get verified on your own. If you have sufficient energy, like if you're sufficiently energized, you would be able to verify them. After you have rated them, if you have rated them honest, and only if you've rated them honest, you have the option of giving them energy if you have energy.
Okay.
So yeah, step one, BrightID. Step two,
Then without
rating.
connections,
Step three, energy.
without connections, there is no aura game for you.
Correct. And you can't, so we would expect, so I've got 1,500 BrightID connections. I've made 200 Aura ratings, and I've given energy to 30 people. Like that's like the right sort of numbers. And ideally, maybe I would rate more people than that, but like there should be a big difference. Right. You should only rate. You can make a just met BrightID connection with anybody, as you know, you've done thousands and thousands of times. A much smaller subset of those people could you actually give an Aura honesty rating to, because you actually know that you know enough. You couldn't give an honesty rating to some random person you just met on a call one time. You can't do it. You just don't have enough information. And then an even smaller subset of people that you rated honest, would you say, you know what, you should also play this game with me, have some energy, and then you can go have all these powers.
Yeah.
There's also something we created called vibes. So vibes is a thing that you can give that is in between like a just met connection and honesty. So vibes, which can be positive or negative, is talking about like, how do you feel that? You're not actually willing to say, you know what, this person is downstream of me, like validate them, use my authority to validate the person. But I met them, it felt good, you know, if no one else told me nothing wrong, like, I think that they're probably a good user, right? And you know, if you and all your friends are all going, yeah, I think they're probably good, like that's meaningful signal. And if Mono and Sergey are like, yeah, I met that person and got the heebie-jeeb, you know, I didn't get good vibes, that would really be really important.
Yeah. So that take out the people that start making fake accounts just to try to get the verification, because they have to pass through the process of making connections, be honest to these connections, get the trust, so they give them the energy, so they can start making these moves, right? But there will be people that will have like, let's say this, but like you are in this community and you have another civil account in another community. So there is people that think that this is your account, and there is people that will think that this is your account, but you're in reality, you have two good accounts, but one of them is a civil or something like that.
And I'll put it, that is the hardest problem that we're aware of in this space. And and has always been the thing, sort of one of the first criticisms we always get from everyone is like, oh, well, I could just have two separate groups of friends. They never overlap. How could you possibly know? And I'll admit, it's really hard.
It's hard to do, yeah.
We have some tools in mind to improve it. It's always going to be hard. It's just.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, and it's really fragile because it's just one connection between the two groups and you will be exposed because in a moment.
That's right.
Because this is your account and this is, who is this? I know this is this guy. No, but this is their account and that you are done.
Yeah, that's why you have to really, if you're the attacker, you have to really segregate them, because if someone is using the mutual connections tool that I was talking about, it's going to expose them. And then, but if they are able to, even if they're able to completely separate those two, like social groups that they're going to get verified to, or completely separate the two Aura players that are going to help them get verified so that they can use two different accounts. There's that other tool that I talked about. It's the like identifiers tool,
Registry.
known identifiers tool, where what you can do is, like, if this person knows your Twitter account, that this Aura player knows your Twitter account, and this Aura player knows your Twitter account, even though they're separate from each other, what they can do is they can make like this anonymous, do this anonymous protocol with each other, where it's like, okay, I've got a BrightID account, or I've got this BrightID user that I'm investigating that has this Twitter account, and the other person says the same thing, and then it matches them up, and without sharing anything that somebody doesn't already know, it says, wait a minute, there's something weird going on, like someone with a different BrightID, like a different Aura player is saying that they've connected to someone using that Twitter account, but with a different BrightID than the one that you're saying. And so then that's becomes suspicious, especially if you're using like well-known data like Twitter accounts, phone numbers, email addresses, things that you know that really are being used by that person. And it's coming back saying that there's like
a typical
two or
ping.
three other BrightIDs that other people are also saying that are being used by that person.
It should be like a typical ping command that you send like a package, and if the package is back, it's because it's good. And if you don't get a signal back, it's because there is something bad happening.
Yeah, so look at the known identifier tools post, because it's I think it's pretty well thought out
Cool.
how it works. I'll share it in here, but
And I think you're going to be more tools in the future, right?
yeah, so that tool is going to be really helpful, and that's like the best solution that I think I've heard from anybody of like how you can fight this problem.
An important thing that I want to add in general about BrightID and specifically Aura, why you make the rating that you make is up to you. You can use wildly different tools, things that don't exist yet. You know, some people will play this game entirely on intuition. Other people are going to play this game super like data focused. And there's not a right or a wrong way, especially now. You know, it may prove out that there are better and worse ways to play the game, but we don't exactly know, and that's okay. That your answer is numerical, but how you arrived at that answer is whatever process that you wanted. And some processes will be better than others, but you don't have to the same way. You know, Adam and I are both committed to this game. We've talked about it a lot. We are not going to play the same strategy. Our brains work differently. Our skill sets are different. So like we are at the center of the social graph and have been in hundreds of hours of conversations, and we're going to do it differently. And that's okay. And you'll do it differently than either of us.
Maybe you guys will be the best Aura players there, right?
At the beginning, but I think we'll quickly be eclipsed by people just who have better intuition for it.
We're going to get wrecked.
Because
That's what-
I have an
that's the-
intuition, I have an intuition for how to build the architecture for BrightID. That doesn't mean that I have an intuition for how to play the Aura game correctly.
But it's a valid player move that if I am connected with you, I'm going to give you my everything to you, my honesty, my energy, and I then do nothing else because
So
I
if you
trust
do
you.
if you do that, you're just going to be a low level player that doesn't have much impact, and
Okay.
that's totally fine. And
It's totally
the only-
fine. That's cool.
Right. If the only thing that you do is sort of like strengthen up things that we thought were already true, it's like, hey, we trust Victor, and Victor trusts these people, and we already trusted. Great. That like that. That's just a happy little circle. Right. So this is all fundamentally based on the same kind of page rank analysis that got Google to go. And if it's high credibility websites are pointing at you, then you're going to be higher in the rankings than if you don't. So if the New York Times is linking to you, that's a really good sign. And if scam.com is linking to you, that's not going to be such a good sign.
I get it.
Right. If the New York Times and CNN and NPR are all like pointing to each other, which is what they do, great. Like that's just a really strong core, and we're gonna see that. We want to see those strong cores. We don't expect most people to be involved in thousands of ratings. That's not normal human behavior. But there's some people that will be able to figure out how to do that effectively, and they will. Or we like to talk. We know a guy over in Sierra Leone that Adam and I have worked with and spoken to over many years. He's super excited to try to bring BrightID and anything else good for the world to his struggling country. And what I imagine is going to happen is that like we're going to send some energy his way, and he's going to find a bunch of frontline people that want to keep pushing it out, and like he's going to kind of manage them, and we're going to manage him. So it just like where you are is going to impact how you play. And also, once we have multiple energy types, you might be in different positions. Like I might be a general of one energy type and a foot soldier in another one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not near this, so red energy, I'm at the outskirts. I have a little bit of red energy, but I'm not a power player in red energy. So my impact on how red energy works will be very different than my impact on how like my native white energy works.
I mean, but usually when you can progress, it's supposedly that if you go higher in this stair of power, like you said, like you are most trustable for this guy, you will want to do it. I mean, you want to win the game, right? You want to be the first. You want to be a better player. You want to have more every time. So
some people,
if you can fail,
you could definitely fail
in the process. You will fail.
Yeah, you can 100% fail, right? Because I mean, one of the things that we're definitely going to see is that there's going to be some incentive to like have rated more people. Like the more people you rate, like the more important you're going to be. But in the end, if you have to do it accurately, so
it will be difficult. Yeah, because there's more possibilities to fail. Yeah,
more possibilities to fail. Right. So as you make more connections, you're more likely to do some of them wrong. And
I get it.
We'll see. Right. So there's going to be some people that don't make as many connections but are super accurate, and other people that make more and are not quite as accurate. And I don't know exactly how those two things are gonna play out. And I mean, it's not like all of this is coded and figured out. We're gonna, as we watch the emergent behavior of different people in different groups, we're gonna sort of figure out the rules as we go. Like how should this work? How should it be scored? We don't know yet.
Yeah. So it's a total valid strategy to just put your energy to the people that you are sure they're 100% real, legit account.
That is the safest thing. That is the safest thing to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Another thing is to take more risks, and that's part of maybe being a good Aura player. Maybe I'll be too conservative, but taking calculated risks and realizing that it could cause you short-term problems, could affect your reputation, but you're willing to take that risk.
also, if you're making short-term risks, you need to be paying more attention, right? If the
Right.
only people you give energy to are people that are rock solid, great. You can set it and forget it. You don't need to check again, because
Yeah.
like you can give a bunch of honesty and energy to Adam and probably just walk away and never look at it again, and it's going to be fine. And like your little score should just keep going up, because over time, yep, it keeps proving right. If you're gonna play the, hey, I'm gonna be more broad, you better be paying attention, because once we start to figure out that a region of the graph is bad, you don't want to still be sending energy into that region. Like once we think it's bad, you don't even want to have done it prior to us figuring out, because like we're going to look back and we're going to say, hey, a month, this is what we know, this is what we currently believe. What were people saying a month ago? Oh, like we now believe this is a civil region. A month ago, Victor was sending energy there, therefore he wasn't playing the game very well.
You get
right?
it.
But if you're so a month ago you were sending energy because you thought it, but you figured out that they were bad and you pulled it out, that's much. It would have been better if you'd never sent it. But the fact that you pulled out early is better than pulling out late. You don't want to be the last person, unless, although it should be true. Let's say, right, you believe in this, you're sending energy. The rest of the community starts to doubt it, but you still believe, because you actually, you know them, you talk to your friend, this is still good. You should continue to persist in your belief, even though it's going against the consensus, because eventually, if you're proven to be right, like you had the most time in being right. And although we certainly haven't figured out how to code or score it, it should be true that a non-consensus view that proves to be correct in either direction, that you believe that they're good when they're, you believe that they're good and they eventually are, or you believe that they're bad, right? There's going to be great examples, right? One of the best things you could do in Aura should be, everybody else says this is a good region, and you're the one that says no. You should be able to like bet against that region, and eventually, when the world comes around to understanding, yep, wow, that was a million civils over there. Like we thought that was real people, and they were really good at it. It was the mafia of Vietnam, and they were really good at it, and great. But then when it finally fell apart, look who always said so.
Just the historical that you do that is a good thing, that you were right from the beginning. I think nothing more about that.
It's going to be hard. It is hard
really
to
hard.
continue to state a non-consensus belief. And it's kind of like, the famous saying, markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that means like, okay, hey, you think a stock is either undervalued or overvalued.
It's like having
opinion-
Luna right now, thinking that it's going to go out again. Yeah, it's impossible to do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, holding.
Right.
Yeah,
All of us on the
anyway.
call are like, Ether is going to be way more valuable in the future.
Definitely.
But
No.
if you've held that viewpoint for the last 6 months, that has not gone very well for you.
Yeah.
Even though 5 years from now, I think that we're going to be proven right. It was
Yeah.
not a good 6-month trade.
Yeah,
No.
you got to find some funds that you can just stick in there for 5 years and never have to touch, and then you'll do really well.
I want to ask you something, guys, before we finish, because we are
we should
reaching
wrap.
the time. Is in the war, more obviously in the poor countries, is more usual that the people tend to make everything in their cell phones. So the Aura application is going to be could be used for the cell phone.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is
Philip's been working really hard to make sure that we don't forget this. It's a mobile first application. It works.
Cool.
So we make sure that it works for mobile users.
Victor, what I'd say is, so the core functionality you can do all on mobile. For people that are going to play like the command center role, they're going to want to use a desktop. But for a normal user, you'll be able to do a whole bunch of this stuff and all the essential things in the mobile on your phone. There will be advanced tools that don't work. Like you really can't analyze the graph on a phone.
Yeah,
it's just not sufficient. But you will be able to like look at mutual connections. You'll be able to do all of the actual rating, but for deep research, you're going to be better off on a desktop.
Okay, cool. But it's good to know that
Yeah.
if for
And that has always been, it's always been a mobile first kind of thing. It sort of has to be. Just as BrightID is a mobile first application.
yeah, exactly. Oh, so you will get the aura from the BrightID application. It's going to be a different.
No, it's separate. So I mean, it's live today. The version that's live lacks a bunch of the stuff that we've been working hard on recently, but it's live today. Yeah, so you just pull it up on your phone. It's all right there.
Okay.
Or on brightid.org.
Yeah, because I mean, it has to link up with your BrightID account, right? And you cannot log in or log out of your BrightID account. Anyway.
Yeah, and actually the team is working on some really cool tech to make linking it much easier. So it, like the way you link to the Explorer page right now, if you have a lot of connections, someone like you, it takes forever.
Yeah.
The team is working on a way that if both of your devices are on the same Wi-Fi network, it will be way faster because it makes a direct connection between the two devices instead of, like going to space and back between. Because it's right now, if you're sitting at your desktop computer and you have your phone in your hand and you link, it's got to go, through all the wires and
1 hour and a
around
half.
the world and back again.
That's what I need to do, 1 hour and a half. And I need to have my phone with the screen on every time. If the screen goes out, I get disconnected. So I had to restart again.
So assuming we can get this new thing working, as long as those two devices are on the same Wi-Fi network, it'll take no time because it's not actually a ton of data that needs to happen. And if those two devices just know exactly where each other are, it'd be much, much faster.
Really cool. I can't wait to start playing the other game.
Oh yeah. You should try it. Like, I'm glad you joined the Discord. So yeah, try it out and it'll be fun and it'll get more fun as we go. Like it's constantly getting better. We have a good team now. So
all right, we are
all right, guys. Really good talking to you. See you next
Bye,
week.
you too.
Bye.